In today's show, no Dame trade nonsense, just a little bit of fun. Let's talk about the Blazers' future. It's going to be on display at Summer League. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making the show your first listen, coming at you Monday through Friday. Start your days with it. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, we are taking a break from the big thing. We've been talking about the big thing for a long time. And quite frankly, you, dear listener, and this guy talking in the microphone need a break from talking about the big thing. We need to have a little bit of joy here. The Portland Trailblazers are still a basketball team outside of their franchise icon point guard who's been in the news a lot lately. We are beholden here to talk about the news, particularly when it is the biggest news in the league, but everyone needs a reprieve, and today we're taking a chance to really have that reprieve. We're going to talk about the Blazers' future. Summer League starts on Friday evening in Las Vegas. The Blazers are going to take on the Houston Rockets, and today's show is going to get you ready and get you excited to watch the future of the Blazers on display at Summer League. First, we got a little news to take care of. Mattisse Thybulle, who we talked about on yesterday's show, as likely to get an offer from the restricted free agent. Mattisse Thybulle likely to get an offer from the Dallas Mavericks in restricted free agency. Well, as I'm recording this on Wednesday evening, it's been reported that he's going to receive an offer. 3 years in the range of $33 million, according to Shams Charania of The Athletic. Yesterday's show, I mentioned that his max that he could have been given by the Mavs was 4 years, $54 million, but they made a trade to acquire Grant Williams, knock their money down. What they had available to offer, according to Bobby Marks of ESPN, the Mavericks have $9 million below the apron to, it's like getting a little bit in the weeds. They can start a contract they don't have access to the full MLE, which is $12.4 million. They have about $9 million. So you start at about $9 million in year one and bump it up from there. That gets you to in the $33 million range. Here is how restricted free agency works. I mentioned on yesterday's show that it was 24 hours. Well, because the NBA is beautiful, it's actually only 24 hours if. It's going to be 24 hours for Mattisse Thybulle, but here's how it works. This is, again, courtesy of Bobby Marks of ESPN. Offer sheets can be signed starting tomorrow on July 6th, or you're listening to on July 6th show, starting today. If that offer sheet is received by the league office prior to 12 p.m., then the matching team has until 11:59 p.m. the next day. So if you get the offer sheet tomorrow before 12 p.m. Eastern time, then the clock would end 36 hours later. It would end at 11:59 or 8:59 Pacific time on July 7th. If they've got it dialed and know what the money is on July 5th, they're going to deliver to him in the morning. That means once he gets that official offer that will be there, the Blazers will have until July 7th at 8:59 p.m. to decide on whether they want to keep Mattisse Thybulle. The Blazers have, he's a restricted free agent, so the Blazers can match any offer. That's why it's an offer sheet from another team, and the Blazers get their right to make the decision. They can go over the salary cap to sign him, so there's basically no... if the Blazers want him back, there's no mechanism that will prevent the Blazers from bringing back Mattisse Thybulle. At this money, I would match it. Sounds fine to me. This sounds right in Mattisse Thybulle's market. I think he helps the Blazers. I think he's a good player that if he ends up not helping the Blazers, this is the type of money that will make him eminently tradable in this sort of new cap ecosystem of the future. Starting salary under $10 million. Great. If he started at that $12.5 million and went up from there, it wouldn't be crazy money. Like, it'd be fine. It's just like a lot to commit to Mattisse Thybulle. Probably fine for either team in the Blazers, but at 33, I think this is a no-brainer that you match. I think you smash that yes button. If the Blazers are a young team, which it's very likely that they will be, Mattisse Thybulle will help. If they're happen to be more veteran-laden for any reason, Mattisse Thybulle would help that team too. He can contribute. He's a really good defensive player. They need that. I like him to play 2 and 3 a little bit it and get the chief defensive assignments. I understand, the Mavs got Grant Williams. Now they're getting Mattisse Thybulle. They're trying to load up on guys who can play some defense on the wings around Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Good teams want players that are good. Teams that are not going to be as competitive like the Blazers are likely to be, it seems like they should also want good players in the roster. That's the point of building a basketball team. And at this money sounds like go for it. There is a world in which this contract is a little trickier. Like it's actually 2 years with a player option for the third year. I don't think the Mavs will do that to themselves. I think they're just offering Mattisse Thybulle as much as we possibly can, and we'll see what Portland does because there's some, he has some value to them. If the Blazers should probably they should probably not wait till the deadline. Just go ahead and match it. The reason that you would wait to the deadline though is that spite. It's mainly the reason you would do it is spite. Once the Cavs offer that money, then it's on their books. They function like it's on their books. So if you make them sweat it out until 11:59 Eastern time on July 7th, then they can't make any other moves. I don't know that it will really hinder the Mavs, but if the Blazers wait, it's not like they're necessarily super duper debating. They might just be saying, okay, if the Mavs want to tie their money up in offering Tease, who we want back on the roster, let's call Tease's people, tell them that we intend to match, and then not do it until the last minute, until the clock is ticking down. As like a funny thing to note here, Mattisse Thybulle is repped by Aaron Goodwin, who is Damian Lillard's agent. So we will see what happens with that. But I think the Blazers should match the money. I think they should do it. I think Tease can help. Okay, let's talk summer league. Let's talk the future. Let's have a little fun. It's Scoot and Shaedon and the future of the Blazers on display in Vegas, and you'll be able to watch it because the games are all broadcast now. Summer League used to be a little more podunked, and now it's easy to watch. That's what we will talk about in the second segment. But first, I want to tell you that today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. There's a lot of ways to get therapy, and BetterHelp is one of the most convenient ways and flexible ways to do so. What therapy can help you do is help you sort of trust yourself to make better decisions that align with your values. And the more that you practice making decisions that align with your values, help you practice being your best self, the easier it can get. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. Switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right. Summer League is here. And it's time to get excited about the future of the Blazers. I think, and obviously I'm part of this. I don't mean to be remove myself from this. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm the dude who talks here. I get it. I want this show to be positive and looking forward to the future because I think the Blazers' future, despite how kind of murky it is in this exact moment, is legitimately fun. Legitimately fun. I think Scoot Henderson is going to be legitimately fun. I think on draft night, I tried to it's just kind of like a weird time for the Blazers, but I tried to say Scoot's going to be awesome, but what the show ended up being is Scoot's going to be awesome, but man, Dame's future is a mess. Scoot's going to be awesome. I think he's going to be a very, very good player. I talked about expectations for him on a previous episode, and I mentioned that players who've been drafted in the last 4 or 5 drafts with as a top 5 pick who are going to get lead guard responsibilities. Most of them, if you go back to 2018, guys who have hit their 3rd year in the league have made at least one All-Star game. A couple of them have made All-NBA teams. Scoot has a chance in the first 3 to 4 seasons of his career while he's on a rookie contract to be special, special, special. Then you throw Shaedon in the mix, Shaedon Sharpe, who looked really, really good when he got a much bigger responsibility at the end of the season. And the Blazers have a really fun tandem of dudes not old enough to drink yet. It's going to be fun to see that duo play together and play off one another in Summer League. Blazers open up Friday against the Houston Rockets with Asar Thompson and Jabari Smith Jr. And a curious team that got a lot older and still has a lot of intriguing young parts in the offseason. I think that's going to be super fun. That one's on ESPN. Sunday's the big one. Against San Antonio and probably Victor Wembanyama. The game is on ESPN2. The Victor Wembanyama Wemby has been speculation whether he'll play. The speculation is now that he'll play a few games, a couple, 2 or 3, and I would guess 2 for the Spurs in Vegas. Sunday on ESPN2. That game's specifically not on NBA TV, which makes me think that we will probably still see Wemby. Wemby versus Scoot, round 3, and then played those 2 exhibition games in Vegas, and Scoot rose to the occasion. Great theater. I think it could be, I don't think that those 2 gentlemen have like a rivalry or whatever. I think that would be misstating it. But certainly Scoot says like, this dude was the consensus number 1 overall pick. He's the guy who everyone thinks is going to be better, who's, was unquestionably better than me. And I think it's like totally fair to say that about Victor Wembanyama as a prospect. And when Scoot went at him in Vegas in those showcase games, he was fantastic. Let's see him do that again and like rise to the moment. It's what stars do, is they rise to the moment. Even 19-year-old stars. I'm super excited to see Sunday's game. Then Tuesday, the Blazers play the Charlotte Hornets, of course, who drafted Brandon Miller, number 2 overall, ahead of Scoot. We will see who's available for that. You get later in the Summer League, you do not know who's going to be playing, and the Blazers close their Summer League slate. They're guaranteed. They play 5 games, more on that in a moment, but the following Thursday, so a week from today, against the Orlando Magic. So first game is on ESPN, second game is on ESPN2. The Hornets game is on NBA TV, and then the Orlando game to close it out is on ESPN2. But if you have cable, you'll be able to watch these games. They're going to be a whole bunch of fun. Summer League, they've kind of been shifting the format for years to find out the best way to make it a television event. Now that it's a television event, back in the day, it wasn't really on TV, or it was on local TV only, and the Blazers wouldn't send their broadcasters. It was fun. They would they'd broadcast the game from the studio, the first remote broadcast in the Blazers broadcasting before that was a more common thing in our modern world. But then it has become over the last, say, 5 years, like a big TV event. And to make it a big TV event, they've made it into a tournament. So how it's going to work is you're going to play these 4 scheduled games, and then the top 4 teams based on win percentage, and then a whole bunch of tiebreakers that if the Blazers are there and they're going to win a championship, we'll get excited about it. But top 4 teams play in the semis, and then everyone else who's not one of those top 4 teams, the other 26 teams, you get a 5th game. And that 5th game will be next weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. So no matter what, the Blazers are going to play 5 games. There's a chance they play 6 if they make it to the championship. And let me tell you, I did look it up. I looked it up on FanDuel. The Blazers have the second shortest odds, plus 850, tied with the Detroit Pistons for the second shortest odds. The favorites heading into the week of Vegas, plus 700, Oklahoma City. With Chet Holmgren back in the fold, and the youngsters that they've amassed there over the last few years. It'll be. I hope the Blazers win the Summer League title. Back in the day, it used to be like you could play as many as 8 games in Vegas, and that was too many. They've really shortened it. 8 games was just like it became a burden on teams. They've kind of dialed it in. I think it's a little bit better. 6 games is fun. 6 games. This particular podcaster won't be worn out by like stuff that's not quite NBA basketball, but Summer League is super entertaining. And I want to talk about this a little bit to close the show. But first, let's talk about who's on the team and like who you're going to get to watch, and then I'll talk to close the show about how I'm going to watch it and a little bit more about Scoot and Shaedon Sharpe. Scoot Henderson's on the team. Shaedon Sharpe's on the team. We will see how much he plays. There was, some debate whether he'd be on the roster because the Blazers kind of like don't want him to, they think he's good. He doesn't need Summer League to prove he's good or to like get in the NBA system. Played at the, last 10 games of the year last year and was like, yeah, this dude can go. He'll be all right. And the Blazers think that Shaedon Sharpe's ready for like 30 plus minutes a night, regardless of what direction they're going. They have high hopes for him to be really good in year 2. And so he's not going to get overextended in Summer League, but I bet he'll play that first couple weekends. Other roster guy, first couple weekends? The first 2 games of that first weekend is what I meant to say. Other roster guys who are going to be in Vegas, Jabari Walker, Ryan Rupert, who officially signed a contract with the Blazers today, a 3-year contract, according to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype. First 2 years are guaranteed. 3rd year is a team option. Ryan going to be part of the plan. Rupert is, I'm intrigued to watch him. Chris Murray will be there. Keon Johnson will be there. Nate Williams, who's technically has a non-guaranteed contract that's, I believe, the end of July for the Blazers to make a decision on your boy Jonathan. And then the two-way guys, Ibu Badji and John Butler Jr. Badji, I want to see him play basketball. I've seen the highlights. They're compelling, but I want to see him functionally play basketball in a 5-on-5 setting, wearing a Blazer jersey, and see what he's like. I want to see him set a screen for Scoot Henderson, roll to the rim. I want to see him block shots. Super excited to check Badji out, because Blazer fans are super hyped on him in a way that only a two-way guy that hasn't set foot on the court can be a special type of hype. I'm excited to see him live up to the hype, surpass the hype, LeBron James style. And then John Butler Jr., skinny type, 7 foot small forward, who played for the Blazers, even started a game at the end of last season out of Florida State. Both those guys are two-way guys, and the Blazers extended them qualifying offers, two-way qualifying offers. So basically, if the Blazers want to bring them back, they have the right to exercise to do so. I wouldn't be surprised if both of those gentlemen are back on two-way contracts. There's a third two-way slot this year. I think with the G League, the Blazers are going to be, and maybe with a super young roster, the Blazers are going to really utilize their the way they approach development, which I think is going to be really, really good for this franchise in a way that they haven't. I think that's something that could be super, super valuable for as they build out whatever the next era might be. Okay, what I want to talk about to close the show is how I watch Summer League. There's some other non-roster players that are going to be there as well for the Blazers, but we will talk about them as we get sort of deeper into Summer League. I think with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 roster guys and 2 two-way guys, it seems unlikely that someone off the roster would make the team, but we'll see. We'll see. If we get deeper in there, then we'll get excited about other folks who are on the roster. But I want to talk about how I watch Summer League, because some of the basketball can be a little ragged. It can be a little ragged, and I think it's important to have an approach to how you're going to view the games, because if you just view them oh man, the Blazers lost 93-77 and they let so-and-so go nuts. It's yeah, okay. But they didn't, it's the results. Well, it's you want the Blazers to win the championship, go 6-0, baby. Let's go get another banner up there. But the results aren't super meaningful, but the sort of function of your guys, particularly the guys who are going to play, Scoot and Shaedon Sharpe, is really meaningful. So I want to talk about that to close the show. That's what we're going to do in the third segment. Join me there, won't you? Still a past first point guard. Still Mike Richmond. You're still listening to Locked On Blazers. Let's talk about what's it going to look like in Summer League and how to watch it. So, I think the Scoot and Shaedon Sharpe backcourt are going to be really special. What my goal for Scoot, Summer League is a pick and roll guard's dream. Scoot might dominate this thing, and I really think he might be really stinking good. There's always caveats with Summer League. Damian Lillard was the MVP of Summer League, but he was the co-MVP of Summer League. Damian Lillard became the unanimous Rookie of the Year. He had 23 and 11 in his first NBA game. He was clearly ready to roll the moment he set foot on the NBA court, and that was pretty apparent in Summer League. He was excellent, right? He was one of the best players in Vegas. Co-MVP that year was Josh Selby. Selby was not an NBA player. There are Dames and there are Selbys. Nicholas Batum is another good Blazers example. Basically couldn't dribble the ball up the court in Summer League. Literally could not get across half court handling the ball in Summer League. Won the starting job in training camp as a 20-year-old. Not an NBA player in Summer League. By the time he got back and found a way to be a contributor as an energy guy and a lengthy defender on Nate McMillan's team when he arrived in training camp. So the results and the production stuff, it's easy to get caught up and be this dude, he's averaging 11.9 rebounds per 36 in Vegas, and I think that's gonna and I'm not gonna I don't want to deter you from getting hyped about this team. If you're listening to this show and this week, you deserve to get as excited as you want about this team. You deserve to really, really celebrate and say this team brings me joy, right? I'm certainly not gonna rain on the parade this summer. Maybe my tendency is to do that, but this summer I'm gonna try to remain positive because I know we need it, y'all. But the way I watch is more like, how would this skill that they have work in Summer League? So for Scoot, it's like, I think he's going to be great in the pick and roll. I want to see him score in pick and rolls. I want to see his pull-up game in pick and rolls. I want to see the playmaking. I want to see all of it there. But like, that's going to be what he does in the regular season. So you don't have to like figure out the puzzle and how it fits. For somebody like, say like Jabari Walker, who's going to be, even if he's like a member of the rotation this year, which I kind of hope he is if they go young. I hope he is. I don't know why I couch that. I straight up hope Jabari plays if the Blazers are a developmental type team. He's still going to be a role player type. Like, he's not going to be featured on offense, like as long as Jeremy Grant and Scoot and Shaedon and Anthony are on the roster, right? So if Jabari is getting like high post touches and like backing his guy down, hitting fadeaways, like that's awesome. It's fun to watch guys expand their skill set, but it's not like a thing you're going to circle like, okay, Jabari Walker ISOs. Let's see if we can get that into the offense, because it doesn't fit like when the NBA season starts. With Scoot, it'll be easy, and I think with Shaedon it'll be easy too, because he's going to be a get it and go type of guy when the season starts, right? Like they're gonna put the ball in his hands way more this year than they did last year. At the end of the year, when he got the ball in his hands, he looked like he could be really special. This year, I think they're setting it up where he's going to be a guy who still is, he's a really lethal cutter. Like that was like where he really, the main place he shined early in his NBA career. But at the end of the year, like on ball reps for Shaedon. So like the way I'm going to watch is how they fit into the puzzle. It's easy with Scoot. It's pretty easy with Shea. With Jabari, it's a little different. With Ryan Rupert, I kind of don't know where he's going to fit. So what does he do that can get him on the court? That's how I'll watch him. With Chris Murray, same thing. Like, can he shoot? Can he defend? The knock on him is that he's maybe not a great shooter. It's hard to like stand out as a defender in Vegas, but certainly the games are competitive enough that if you're good on defense, it'll show up a little bit. But how can Chris Murray contribute? I think that's one of the big things I'm going to be watching. What does he do? What is a skill that he has that's translatable when he is in a role player type role as a rookie with the Blazers? Where does Chris Murray fit? I think that's a big one for me. Keon, like, what is, has he improved his decision making? It's like the Blazers are still pretty guard heavy. I don't understand. I don't see a big minute role for Keon, period, with the way the roster is currently likely to be constructed. But can Keon surprise and like force tough decisions? Nate Williams, I don't know. I like Nate that he plays hard and has long arms and seems to be like good defensive playmaker. I'm not sure. See if, does he have stuff that translates? Abu Baji, do anything. I'm going to get excited. Do anything, Baji. And I'm going to get excited about it. And John Butler's the shooter. Let's see him continue to shoot. But I want to talk about the Scoot and Shea pairing, because this might be the Blazers starting backcourt on night one. I kind of think Ant will start. I kind of think Anthony Simons will start. I mean, there's a chance that freaking Damian Lillard starts. But we're not going to talk about it, but we'll talk about it. Scoot and Shea are going to play a bunch together this year, period. How do they function off one another? Can they run small pick and rolls? Do they have really good chemistry already? Shaedon Sharpe, really good cutter. Scoot, really good passer. How many lobs do we see early in Summer League? Do they play incredibly fast? Something that Chauncey Billups has wanted to do, but really hasn't made it stick in his first 2 years, in part because of personnel. They might have the personnel that can really run now. The Scoot and Shea run. And for Shaedon Sharpe, is he too good to be there? I think that's a reasonable and important goal for Shaedon Sharpe, is that the Blazers were kind of, debating whether they'd put him on the roster and let him play in Summer League. By the time we get to Sunday, and it's, and you're going up against Victor Wembanyama, I hope Shaedon Sharpe is too good to play on Tuesday. I think that's a realistic goal for him. I think he is good enough, and the way the sort of structure of Summer League works, that if you're a ball in your hand type scorer, like, your skill set is going to shine. And I think seeing Shaedon Sharpe just put up 26 in game 1 and like 24 and 5 boards and 4 assists in game 2, and it's like, you're good, dude. You don't need to play anymore. I think that's a reasonable goal for Shaedon Sharpe, is like, I don't know if he'll play a third game anyways, but I hope that he doesn't play a third game because it's like, yeah, you don't need to be here. Like, you can hang. You're welcome to hang the rest of the week and get your per diem and hang out at the hotel. But you're just not going to play any more games because you're too good. You're too good for this setting. And I think that's a reasonable goal for Shaedon Sharpe. For Scoot, I want to see the offense really translate as a pick and roll guy. And I want to see their chemistry, because the reason to be excited about the Blazers' future, kind of regardless of what happens over the next 6 weeks or so, is that the losing they did to get Scoot and Shaedon Sharpe will pay off regardless of the like big picture outcome. It's like, yeah, they tanked to get the 7th pick and they absolutely nailed it. And they tanked and moved up to get the 3rd pick and they absolutely nailed it. And now you have this foundation. And throw Anthony Simons in the mix, obviously like too old and talented to be at Summer League, but like throw him in the mix too. And it's like, you got some really good young players under 25 and kind of, while, you know, you might not be like a 45 win team next year, you can see it clearly. Okay, these guys, you know, in the way that young players do, there's ups and downs, but the ups are really high. And I think the important part about, for me, watching in Vegas is like seeing these skills that you know can translate. For role players, it's a little, you know, you're looking for one little thing. For somebody like Scoot, it's like, are you a dominant point guard who can score and facilitate? For Shaedon Sharpe, it's like, are you just an absolute absurd bucket at this level? Are you just like 28 on 14 of 18 shooting? Sorry they couldn't guard me. I hit him 28 points on 14 made field goals. So I have him making all 2s in my fantasy. All 19-foot pull-ups. Let's go. Math be damned. But like what I'm talking about is just like an insanely efficient Shaedon Sharpe game where he's just, no one can stay in front of him with the first step. Super fun highlights off passes from Scoot. Super fun highlights getting out on the run. And being, you know, I think Sharpe was at the beginning of his NBA season like really bad on defense in a way that is totally believable for a teenager. And then at the end of the year, I don't think he was like an above average defender, but he was showing signs of being like, oh yeah, this dude is so much stronger and so much smarter on defense. Like he might have chops to be a pretty solid defender at one point in his career. And with Scoot, the idea, like at least from what the sort of scouting folks say, is that like he could be a very impactful defender. Point guards in the NBA, it's like you can be really good on defense, but you're like going to lock your guy up. You just like size matters in terms of like team defense stuff. But if you have these dynamic scorers that have plus upside on defense, boy, does it start to fill some stuff out. I don't think they don't need to be like, you know, prime Gary Payton or whatever. It's for me to like get excited about them defensively, but I expect them to be very, very good on offense, and we'll see if Scoot can, you know, the efficiency there. He's got really good sort of in-between game. I think I want to see that particularly is the floaters and the pull-ups and stuff, so teams can't play drop against him, because if they can't play drop and they have to come up to the level, and you bring a big man to the level with someone as fast as Scoot, he's going to be just an automatic paint touch. So that in-between game really matters for me, for him. And just like them as enough defensive flashes to make you think they'll get there eventually, and dominant offense, I'll be waving the flag. Summer League, regardless of what they do in games 5 and 6, even if they get to a 6th game, which would be championship Monday night in Vegas. I think the Blazers have a really fun future. I totally understand if seeing that future right now feels a little far away and a little far off and a little, like I said, murky at the top of the show, like clouded because of what's hanging over the team right now. But if you're listening to this and you came back after a cajillion me talking Damian Lillard trade shows, and you came back for this one, and and you're not a disappointed fan of a certain team in South Florida that's like, give me more trade news. Someone who's like looking to find fun about this team, I don't think you need to look very far. I think it's going to be right there. And I think Scoot, Henderson, and Shaedon Sharpe are going to bring that fun in Summer League in a way that is going to feel so cleansing. I think Friday night against Houston is going to be a huge sigh of relief. Hey, no matter what happens, this team is probably in really good hands. And by the time they're playing Wemby on Sunday night, you might be making outrageous predictions to your friends in the group chat. I wish that for all of us. I wish that everyone is popping off in the group chat on Sunday evening. Blazers got the best player in the draft. Wemby, who? Scoot and Shea. The future's bright. It's going to be crystallized this weekend. Starting Friday on ESPN against Houston, Sunday ESPN2 against San Antonio, then next week Charlotte and Orlando. Let's go. The Blazers right now, you're in the woods. On the other side of this forest are two dudes under 21 who are going to dominate in Vegas this week. Get excited. Tell your friends about the show. Appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.